So, so we had a pre-show match. It was Double D. Hey, Double D.
I like chickens, Eddie.
I like chickens, Eddie. Hey, Double D. He defeated Damon Windsor, who they. This was the harshest chant of the weekend. Walmart Undertaker. Oh God, that one hurt the soul.
So accurate. So accurate.
Damon Windsor. I don't even remember who Double D is. So like some of these guys just had really generic names.
Right.
Damon Windsor, I remember because he stood out. I would say to Damon, work on your physique. That's my fucking go-to critique for a lot of these guys. Work on your physique, especially Hawk.
Mm-hmm.
God, Hawk's good, but bro,
Yes.
you look like you're a 28-year-old college dropout. Like, come on, tighten it up.
Yeah.
Your sister is rocking. You need to be rocking too.
Yeah. And on the flip side, I talked about that. I remembered who Double D was. He was the guy that was completely ripped and had like sparkles or glitter or whatever on his abs or whatever.
He likes sparkles, Double D. He likes sparkles.
Because I remember the North who were on commentary for this match which was great.
Yes, the pre-show was amazing.
Yes. So and they were trying to figure out what the hell the D stood for. So apparently it was definition, I guess.
Double
Because
definition.
he's toned.
He is toned. Josh Alexander said all of 10 words on commentary.
Yes, and that's fine.
I feel like that's accurate. Ethan Page is so goddamn charismatic. So, briefly, so about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, they did their Las Vegas tapings. Ken Shamrock came back and all that. Well, apparently they were doing some kind of early morning shoot for a backstage vignette. And Ethan Page was there. And this isn't to bash on anyone. This is just to kind of show you the hilarity of the context. And apparently Ethan Page wanted something to drink, but they didn't have any water there yet or any types of drinks because it was before the show starts, like way before. And he kind of commented on it, and Jimmy Jacobs, who's a producer for Impact, kind of got a little perturbed by that comment. And it got leaked to the news, obviously. It's a non-story. Oh, somebody at work had a disagreement. Oh, the scandal.
Oh no.
So Saturday before Victory Road, Ethan Page tweets out a photo of Jimmy Jacobs hugging like a stack of drinks. It's great. Like, look it up. You'll enjoy it. I would, but I have too many tabs open. I don't want to fuck around. By the by, how's the audio?
The audio is excellent.
Fantastic. So, update to the shows. It was kind of reported. I think I heard this on Friday, but it may have been Saturday. I noticed it. Rich Swann wasn't on any of these shows, despite being booked.
Yes.
It was kind of alluded to that he had some type of family thing going on.
Oh, was it family? I thought it was travel issues.
On Saturday, they said personal issues, I think.
Oh, okay.
But it may have been travel issues. I don't know. Every time I hear a talent is randomly off of a card the day of, and they say it's family issues, I go back to 2007. Yeah. So I was having a little bit of a PTSD flashback. And it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for the fact that Swan has already had an incident before, and I'm just like, oh God, please don't let this be a thing.
Yeah.
But here we are, nearly midnight on Monday. Haven't heard anything. That's good. So, I mean, that's good that we haven't heard anything.
Yeah. No news is good news.
Yes. So, nothing apparently happened. It was probably something like, someone fell ill and he had to take care of them or something to that extent. And I'm hoping that's all it is. I just hate vague explainers in today's day and age because whenever you hear a vague explainer, there's something else going on.
Right.
Now, in some cases, like, specifically with Swan, it could just be that it's a sensitive situation. Like, maybe Su Yung had the tummy issues, and she couldn't keep anything down. Maybe Swanee had the tummy issues and couldn't keep anything down. I don't want people going, hey, Chad couldn't come to work today. Why not? Explosive diarrhea. Oh, yeah, no, okay. Like, no one needs to know that.
No.
So I just hope everyone is all right. But it did change several matchups. The first one being TJP versus Rohit Raju versus Rich Swann became a triple threat to a one-on-one. And I'm going to say this: I really thought that Rohit Raju had a great weekend. He went 0-2.
I thought he did too.
But he had amazing matches.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's in the ring with TJP. Yeah, he's also in the ring with a broken Brian Cage. Explain that one. So the TJP Rohit match was really, really solid. Raju really looked strong, and considering they didn't have Gama or his son Raj, they had Rohit do a lot of the promo stuff with Kiera.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, why did you wait so long, Impact? I mean, I know there was that great segment like a few weeks ago when he was in the stable and he's stroking the horses. I should start my own stable. What? I heard that! That's great. But, you know, and I know that, I think it was earlier this year, and probably around April or so, Rohit cut this amazing promo at a BCW event, and, you know, it really got fans excited for him. But we haven't seen a lot of that on Impact Television, and this is a good opportunity to do so. You know, he won that, you know, that BCW Open whatever challenge on Impact like a year and a half ago or whatever it was. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So clearly Scott D'Amore has always seen something in him, but now we're finally getting to see that ourselves. Zach, any thoughts on Rohit and TJP?
Yeah, I agree. Solid matchup between the two. Rohit, I am very high on. The guy is, you know, he's fantastic in the ring. He's got a great character to him, and you know, one of the things about being a great heel is, you know, when you don't have a mic and you just go out there and you just yell at the audience while you're on ringside, and Rohit is great at that. So I have props for the man.
Just all types of mean. He's a mean boy.
Yes.
Next up, we have Moose versus Kyle Hawk. So Kyle Hawk's tag team partner, Coyote. It's KY-OTE. I presume that's Coyote, but I have no idea. He popped up. I think it was the Collision in Oklahoma. The main event was Lashley versus Del Rio. I think El Patron, and Coyote tagged with, I think, Kid Cash, or supposed to tag with Kid Cash, but his tag team partner is Kyle Hawk. Coyote, I think, has since left the business, or is hurt, or is just taking a sabbatical, or something. But Kyle Hawk is still around, and this is the first time we got to see Kyle Hawk on Impact in any, you know, form or semblance. And right. I'm desperate for his tag team partner to come back, because the Arrow Club and Impact would be a great fucking tag team. Please make it a thing that happens. He looked good against Moose, although my big critique with Moose was more that Moose struggled with someone so unknown. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, Kiera had a very similar match with someone off the roster, but it was more of a squash match. And while Hawk is certainly capable of having great matches, that's not the point. The point is that Moose is someone of such higher stature that he shouldn't be struggling with someone like Hawk.
Yeah, like with shows like this, like Operation Override, Victory Road, you know, the special Twitch or Impact Plus shows, it feels like they're afraid to do squash matches, at least more than one in a night, which is something that we've had an issue with in today's wrestling for a while, is that squash matches are perfectly fine to show that there is a differential between certain talents. Moose, I am so frustrated for Moose because the man has improved so much since he came to Impact. As the fuck was that guy's name?
Mike Bennett.
Mike Bennett, as Mike Bennett's muscle. He's gotten so much better since then, and yet he should be dominating guys like Hawk, but they're still he's still having to, you know, put on competitive matches with these guys when he should be running through them.
I agree. No, I agree completely. Guys like Moose and Elgin, Eddie, Callahan, Those are the guys you need to protect. And here's the thing, and this is the big issue with WWE, that people don't want to address that are fans of the programming, but you have to, is that they don't have any stars anymore. And that's by design. They've made it so that wrestlers don't feel or look that different from one another. And commentary still tries to put them over, so it's like, oh, Seth Rollins, he's so good. Well, he had a 28-minute match against Cesaro, who's never, he's had a single title, and it was like a U.S. belt. Like, oh, cool, Seth Rollins struggled with a jobber. He struggled with a mid-carder who's never going to break out of the pack. Cool. That makes Seth Rollins look so strong. Dude, Stone Cold was dropping dudes in 3 minutes. Rock was dropping dudes in 3 minutes. Triple H was squashing dudes in 3 minutes. And you may not like that guys got buried, but the problem is you have a kind of a distorted context of what that is. Triple H dropping MVP in 5 minutes on Raw is a burial because MVP was being put over up until that night. But a lot of times when talent go over like that, Zach, it's done to help put over the fact that they are so much better than the rest. That's why you had enhancement talent. That's why you had jobbers. That's why you had, lower tier guys, being fed to the top guys, because it helped put over this idea. And that way, when you had, perfect example would be Booker T versus Jeff Jarrett in 2000. When you have a guy like Booker who's going up against a top guy and he wins, it elevates him to such a higher position. They did it once with Jeff Hardy, where Jeff pinned Triple H, and that was like this big fucking to-do. But that's a simple booking ideology. Here's a good example. In New Japan Pro Wrestling, because Chico Okada and Sonata have a loose rivalry, they fought 7 times. Okada was 6-0 against Sonata. Sonata finally got his win. And now everyone's like, well, Okada was 6-0, but right now Sonata is currently 1-0. He's on a one-match win streak against Okada. And it's the basis of building up Sonata now as this idea of someone who can compete with Okada. And now you start to see like a shift in believability in talent as they get raised up the roster. But on the flip side of things, when you have Baron Corbin beating Chad Gable in the King of the Ring finals, when we all knew Baron Corbin was going to beat Chad Gable in the King of the Ring, or everyone for that matter, it hurts the value. Like, Chad Gable doesn't look better because he struggled against a guy the fans don't respect. That doesn't help.
No.
Being out of touch with your audience and not knowing how to utilize and put over talent who is marketable is the big issue with wrestling around the horn at the moment. Impact is only really suffering on one of those aspects, and that's putting over talent. Kyle Hawk looked great against Moose. Kyle Hawk is good. Moose looked great against Kyle Hawk. That's great. I love that. But Moose doesn't need to be having a back-and-forth encounter with someone.
No.
Unless that someone's like a Michael Elgin type. And I think they probably should have done Elgin versus Moose, do a double countout or like a time limit draw or something, and then had Fuego del Sol versus Kyle Hawk. That way you can have a 12, 13-minute competitive match, and it is great. But I'm just a genius, and they don't want to hire me. What are you going to do? So next up, we had the return of the Mahabali Shera. Is it Mahabali? It's Mahabali.
It's Mahabali.
It's Mahabali, because Josh won't pronounce it correctly, and it's pissing people off.
But Josh finally acknowledged that he pronounces it wrong.
Yes.
Because Scott D'Amore made him.
At least we're there. At least we're there. So there's 3 names on this, 4 names counting, 5 names. There's 5 names on this world-class roster that I'm absolutely in love with. One of them is Flex Zerba. So, Shera comes out with his fucking hair down. He looks like a goddamn Indian line. It's fantastic. He looks fantastic. Yeah. He looks jacked as shit. Then all of a sudden, you hear... It's the Oklahoma fight song. You're like, oh, okay. And then a limo starts pulling out of the back. You're like, what? And then there's this fat dude in, like, workout trunks and, like, a T-shirt on the hood. And you're like, what? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Flex Zerba. I for the longest time, I thought it was Flex Zebra. And listen, I'm telling you, Zerba, if you get signed to Impact, change your name to Flex Zebra. Yeah, just do it. It's better. And he comes out. He's just like flexing and shit. I actually found an article from the Oklahoman. He's 36, I think, now. And Zerba's like, I think he's like a software engineer or something like that. He's like, yeah, I just like being a goofball and pretending to be an 80s power lifter. So that's basically his gimmick, is that he's an 80s workout fiend.
I love it.
Which is great because he's fat and out of shape.
It's fantastic.
It's great. I love it. So Shera basically runs him over in about 3+ minutes or so, 3:45 according to Larry Zonka's Impact Override review. Shera looked good. For the first time back in a year and a half or so, the former Revolution member actually looked good. I thought he had great footwork. I thought he was a lot more physical than he was in his last outing, and he had a lot more emotion and charisma to him. It's just screaming at the audience works.
And he didn't have the little finger dance thing.
Oh, but I like the little finger dance. No, I didn't. That was fucking stupid. Part of the issue before Shera, I think, Zach, was they were trying to appease the Indian audience because they were doing that whole Indian tour coming up, and Sony 6 was a big reason why they were still in business at that time. So they wanted to have a big baby face. But Shera works great as a heel because he's one of those guys that you look at and you're like, oh, yeah, I would hate him because he's got the looks, he's got the size, he's got the talent. I fucking totally hate him. And now that he's like this warrior Indian for Gama Singh, like that was great. And then like the way like he commanded them in Mexico to like kneel and pray at the feet of Gama after destroying whoever it was, like that was great. The Deaners, I think, it was great. I love that shit. Like Mahabali has such a great new aesthetic to him, and I can't wait to see how they use him because it's clearly going already a lot better than it did the first time around.
Yes.
Any thoughts on Zerba or Shera?
Flex Zerba is very entertaining.
He's the man.
I loved Scott D'Amore's reaction to him initially. He was like, "I thought JBL was coming out, and I was going." But yeah, and I agree. I feel, and I was hoping this would be the case that they are using Shera a lot smarter now than they were before. Shera is not like, I mean, you could potentially have Shera as a baby face, but you can't have him be the Bollywood playboy that seems to be a popular gimmick for Indian wrestlers. He's too big. Having him dance around like that, it just looks dumb. Just looks silly. He's a guy, face or heel, that should just be ripping people apart.
Yep. Oh, by the by, I think Randy Price is Retro Randy.
Yes, Retro Randy. I enjoy Retro Randy.
Yes, Retro Randy is another one. He's one of the 6 that I enjoyed profusely. He came out in a jean jacket, like little skater boy trunks, and he was decked out in 90s paraphernalia, early 90s paraphernalia. Like Nintendo NES was still prevalent in 90s paraphernalia. And he came out with a Walkman.
It was great.
It was fantastic. It's so fucking good. Next up we had, I thought there was going to be a 4-way. It's a tag match.
Yes.
I could have sworn this was a 4-way though. I double check. Let's see. Knockouts Championship Fatal 4-Way. You lie! So it's supposed to be Taya versus Rosemary versus Desi De Loretta and versus Kiera Hogan. Now, Desi De Retta, my bad. There's 3 spellings of her name. There's Desi De Retta, Desi space Derata. There's Desi De Retta, Desidderata, all one word. And then there's the broken up in 3s. It's Desi, Desi, Day, De, space Rataa. So, yeah, don't know which one it is.
Guys need to figure this shit out.
Impact doesn't know what it is either because on their poster it says Desi Derata, but one of the shows had it Desi Derata. So, clearly, y'all don't know what's up. But she's fantastic. She's the sister of Hawk. I don't know if that's kayfabe or not, but she's fantastic. She looks fantastic. Great physique. I would say her biggest outlier issue is her trunks are very bland. She does have the little First Nations kind of like front patch thing that like Tatanka used to rock, but like then it's just black on black on black on black. It's very rudimentary. Kiera Hogan, I think, Rohit Rajud the women's side of things for this weekend because she was fantastic in both of her matches. I was super impressed with her. And Ty and Rosemary just did their shticks. Overall, it was a pretty solid tag match. Desiderata, yeah, there we go. And Kiera Hogan, I think, were the gems of this because I didn't know what to expect from Doretta. And Hogan is, just like Moose, a constantly evolving product. Mm-hmm. And to see where she was before, see where she is now, her and Alicia Edwards, both you could describe as mousy, kind of quiet and timid, and they didn't really have a lot of presence. But as they've been getting more airtime and they're being coaxed along, have developed a lot more of a personality. Like, we aren't too high on Alicia as an actress, but we can't deny that from where she was when she first showed up a year and a half ago to now, she's shown a lot more emotion, a lot more energy when she's doing these vignettes, especially with the stare down with her husband as Ace did the gyration behind her. Like, that was great. It was great television. So credit to Kiera Hogan and Desiderata. You're the Rosemary fan. Big Rosemary fan you are.
Yes.
Big Rosemary fan you are. What would you say about this tag match having your girl in it?
I agree. I thought it was solid. Yeah, I would give props to the Kiera Hogan Desiderata side of things because Taya and Rosemary, we know what to expect from them. It's kind of the same. It's the same kind of mindset I had after seeing Solo. Like, yes, Childish Gambino was Lando, and he was great, but I expected him to be because he is. And then the guy that was actually being the young Han Solo, I was more impressed with because I knew nothing of the guy. Never seen him before, never heard of him before. I thought he was solid. The same thing goes for Desiderata, and Kiera Hogan, as you said, is improving all the time. So,
yeah. Okay, so next up we have the World Class Revolution Championship match. This was a late edition, and I don't know why. You would think having a match with two former Impact wrestlers, two icons of the industry, one familial legacy, the other pretty well known across the industry, be it Chavo Guerrero versus MVP. You would have thought that this would have been right there with Stephan Bonner and Moose as the big matches you announced.
I mean, you would think so, but then as we said at the beginning of the show, the marketing not too good.
The marketing the bad, no the good, no is karate not for fighting. Push Danielson off cliff. Wacha. So, I forgot that you weren't in on the Mr. Miyagi was trying to kill Daniel LaRusso for 3 straight movies joke. I mean, think about it. He sends a kid with no martial arts experience into a tournament. He coaxes Daniel to break his hand on ice in the second one, then leaves him to fight a killer at the end of the movie. And then he lets the Cobra Kai influence him to beating the people up. And then he sends him off the fucking cliff. Like, hey, go get that bonsai tree. Miyagi had it out for Daniel LaRusso. I fully believe that. So, MVP versus Chavo for the World Class title match. They announced that there's going to be another match the next night, I think, somewhere.
Yes, because actually they announced it before this match was over. So yeah, there was going to be 2 matches.
So we kind of knew that there'd be some shenanigans, some chicanery. Chavo ends up winning, losing via DQ when he hits MVP with the title. It was kind of a forgettable match. Their next night's match would be a lot better, in my opinion. But to kind of not even promote them, like, what are you doing? Come on, Impact, you're better than that.
Yeah, I mean, we the two of us have never been very high on either gentleman in terms of in-ring ability, but they both have name value.
Well, I think Chavo's always been. I think Chavo is the opposite MVP. MVP is a personality you want around, but in ring wise, he's not going to impress you. Chavo will impress you in the ring, but his personality is very dry.
Yes, I agree.
But still, name value could have helped sold tickets if he had promoted it better. The Impact World Tag Team Champions of the North took on the Step Brothers, and this was the only match of the weekend I thought was bad. The Step Brothers
Yeah,
were
I'd
okay
agree.
at best, and the North did everything they could to pull a match out of them, but you can tell that they were having some difficulty, which is also why only one of the brothers, because it's spelled with an A, made it to the next Saturday show, the next night's show on Saturday. The other one did not. And the other
Yes.
one was on the pre-show, so it wasn't even that impressive. I don't know why they had such top billing. I would have actually done probably Zerba versus Retro Randy in this match. I think Zerba and Retro Randy have a very similar, very easy, taggable gimmick.
Yes.
Then you could have put the Step Brothers against Shera and Elgin in squashes, or put... I don't know. I'll think of it later. But yeah, it's not that impressive. What did you think of the Step Brothers?
Yeah, the Step Brothers as a tag team were looked pretty sloppy. There was not a great match. This I feel like was another match where the North should have won in half the time.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
they did go 6 minutes. So it wasn't that long, but it's also probably 3 minutes longer than they should have gone.
Mm-hmm.
At least they weren't having a 20-minute match with these guys. That would have been
Right.
dumb. So, yeah, any other thoughts?
Nope.
So, Fire of Sun or Son of Fire? I don't know in which way you say that. Fuego del Sol. Fuego. He took on Michael Elgin, and while this wasn't a squash match, and it probably should have been, I'm actually kind of glad it wasn't, because Fuego del Sol was easily the best overall wrestler from World Class Wrestling or World Class Revolution or whatever it's called. He was amazing.
Yeah, he was.
So damn good. I would give him a bit of a different mask, because it's kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I could see him, like, if they ever do, like, an intergender tag thing, I could see him tagging with Kiera Hogan. He's Fuego del Sol, and she's the girl on fire. She's the blue flame. They are flaming together.
Oh, man.
Oh, no. It's going to be FCC. They won't let us be. Elgin had good matches over the weekend, and I'm not a big Elgin guy, so you can take that to the bank when I say he had good matches. Yeah. So, it was what it was. It was pretty good. I would recommend it. Zach, any thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Fuego del Sol, I feel like the man is a solid wrestler. His attire, his gear does not look great, but that's just, I feel like part of that is just, the promotion that he's in.
Oh, he's 23 and working for an indie. I don't really expect him to have a lot of disposable cash.
Exactly. So that's something I can pass on. But he did have a phenomenal match with Mike Logan. It was under 10 minutes, so it wasn't like he took Elgin to the limit, but he did what a good big man versus small man match should be, where Fuego del Sol used his quickness to kind of outmaneuver Elgin for the most part of the match in order to stay alive, and it was good.
So, the main event was Sami Callihan versus Eddie Edwards in a street fight. Didn't go that long, about 12 minutes, but Eddie ends up getting the win, shockingly enough. So that was pretty surprising. Post-match, Brian Cage makes an appearance and chases Sami off. I'm all for any Eddie and Sami matches, but I was genuinely surprised that they would have the number one contender lose in this situation. What did you think about Eddie getting the shocking win?
Yeah, I feel like if this, like the booking for this, I can understand it being a non-televised house show kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that's kind of what Operation Override had. It had that kind of feel to it. But since this was being televised, this was being aired on Twitch for people to see, again, this is another problem of not protecting your talent. Sami Callihan, while yes, Sami Callihan and Eddie Edwards had a great rivalry last year, Sami does not need to be losing to a sneak cradle from anybody. And Eddie Edwards is like Eddie Edwards is fantastic. He is one of the top guys in the company. But Sami Callihan is the number one contender going into Bound for Glory, which is in about a month. So you need to keep the man looking good.
I would almost have rather have done Elgin, Moose, Eddie, and Callahan in a tag match.
Mm-hmm.
That should have been the main event, and you should have had Retro Randy and Flex Zerba dropping the brothers on the show, with the North probably facing off with Fuego del Sol and Cal Hawk.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably how I would have rebooked it. I'll probably do something like that after the show. I do like just a better rebooking, better pairing.
Yeah.
Better pizza, better price. NerdCorp. They did a top 5 matches of LAX, but considering how much content we have, we're going to gloss over that.
Okay.
Because we have a lot to cover this week.